What's going on, everybody? Leo Cannell here with the Seven Figures Club podcast. In today's episodes, my entrepreneurial friends, we're going to look at how I built a company from $0 to $5 million in 18 months, and soon thereafter began actually losing money, even though millions of dollars were coming through the business, and how you can avoid that, which is a really important thing to learn as an entrepreneur. We're going to talk about the power of knowing your numbers, the power of QuickBooks and accounting technology, and why John D. Rockafeller, one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time, was so amazingly successful because he was fueled by accounting focus. And last but not least, we're going to really break down and unpack why it's so vital to know your numbers on a daily, weekly basis, or you will die. There are over 32 million businesses in the U.S., and over 90% of them will never break seven figures in annual sales. So how do we as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs break into that seven figures club? This podcast will relentlessly share the secrets, strategies, and tactics I've used to create 3 multi-seven figures businesses and bring in even more successful entrepreneurs than me to share their inspirational stories and tactics to success. You can create your dream business and life right now. So buckle up and let's go. So I hope you guys are having an amazing week. Today is Friday, and it's always important to have a strong Friday finish. Of course, some weeks we work so hard that maybe we just take Fridays off, right? But other weeks, Fridays are very important because we can finish off the week strongly and keep that momentum that's going to power us through into a really strong beginning for the next week. And if you don't maintain your momentum in business, your business will not survive, unfortunately. So we're several months into this economic slowdown, this pandemic. Now, this is a super important episode because a lot of, my mentors and people out there, just worry about the top line, bro. Focus on that, the good business. Oh, okay, cool. So what that means is just grow, higher, expand, take market share. And part of that ideology stems from venture capital-backed firms, right? If you're venture capital-backed, you go out and you get millions of dollars in funding from venture capital firms, and you basically know you're going to lose money, but you're going to grow that top line, you're going to take market share, you're going to get traction and users and customers and proof of concept, and at some point, if you're a Facebook, a Google, something like that, you're going to eventually break even, go public, get a pile of cash to take even more, profit share, and eventually actually turn a profit. And sometimes it takes over a decade for a lot of these tech companies to actually earn a profit, which is insanity to me. That you would start a business, and because you just have so much cash on hand, you actually never make a profit and you bleed money. And for most of those tech startups and venture-backed companies, that's the reality of the situation. They bleed money, and at some point they run out and nobody wants to bleed any more of their money. If you're very fortunate as one of those early investors and it turns into the next Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Google, Apple, Netflix, etc., well, awesome. You're going to kick ass, and you're going to, when that company goes public, your investment, your stock options and shares are going to skyrocket. But the reality for the majority of those businesses is they will eventually run out of money, and when they do, they're done. There's no value left. No one wants to put any more money, and that business is defunct and sold off for nothing. And as the entrepreneur, you take a hit, right? And so if you're of the ideology that, hey, if I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, it's on me from day one to make money profitably, well, welcome to entrepreneurship for 95% of the population that's an entrepreneur, and that's vital. And it's harder to do, but if you do it right from the get-go, then you establish and put yourself in a great position. So with our current company, Seven Figures Funding, that we actually launched in my home office, just 2 years and 3 months ago at this point. We launched it out of my home office with one employee, and we started off in the first 2-3 months. We were losing money. I was racking up credit card balances, and trying to stay on top of my own expenses and make payroll for my one employee. And it was tough, and it made me ill, and I hated it, just losing money for 3 months. Finally came December, so I guess we were about 4 months into it, and in December we actually broke even, and January, 5 months in, we broke a substantial profit, and overall, most every month since, we've been very, very profitable as a business, as we've built from a team of 2 people to a team of a dozen, as we've gone from no office space to a 4,000 square foot office. And throughout that growth, of course, expenses, different things have expanded, but the one thing that I did differently this time was I really monitored our profit and loss on a daily, weekly basis, and I knew exactly where we stood. And with my previous company, we had grown fast. We went from $0 to $5 million in sales in 18 months. We started out in a small 1,200 square foot strip mall, and eventually moved into a ridiculous, what was it, like 15,000 square feet. It was a massive office that we only were using half of the space. It was just so stupid. But anyways, we grew from 0 to 5 million. We were profitable throughout that period. And beyond 5 million, we're doing $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a month in sales. But mistakes I made as I empowered some of my partners and gave them more equity, more power, which was a massive mistake. They began to get very lazy and hired, and let's hire some more people. And they had no idea what they were doing to our bottom line profitability, and it soon became clear that we began to lose money. Even though we were making so much, we were not netting profits. We were going further into debt every single month, and every single week for payroll, it began to be, oh shit, where can we find $20,000 or $30,000, and who's got another credit card, and who can take out another loan so that we can actually make payroll this week? And then thinking about, well, how in the hell am I going to pay my own mortgage as a business owner, started to become a new problem. And so it got worse and worse, week after week, month after month, because we had the wrong people. There'd been family members hired, there'd been massive mistakes, and people needed to be fired and held accountable. And it started with my partners who were sitting in their office playing Xbox and being just incredibly lazy and entitled and thinking they'd arrived as a business owner because we had a multi-million-dollar business, but it was losing money. And because it was so messed up, all of our accounting, we had no idea. Were we profitable this week? Were we not? Well, we started to be real damn clear that we were not, because as we struggled to make payroll and pay our own personal expenses week after week, it became very clear to me that this was an untenable, unsustainable business model the way that we had structured it. And as I looked, at my foolish partners, there was only one person to blame, and it was me. I was the person to blame. I had entitled all of these inexperienced entrepreneur partners and not held them accountable, and then I had allowed them to hire and hire and hire and spend, and we were bleeding money, millions of dollars. And at some point, because I had given up so much power, I couldn't even make the changes to steer that ship and right it. And now that business, after I left it, has really deteriorated and so forth. And so what I did was I took the lessons I learned, and boy, this is what life and entrepreneurship's all about when you got your kids and you're teaching them. It's let's learn from all these mistakes and never make the same mistake again. And so as I grew this business, the first thing I did was I brought in a great CPA, and he broke down everything, all of our records, every expense, every dollar that came in income, and I could literally run my QuickBooks profit and loss report on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis and know exactly where we stood, where we making money. I could break down and unpack each expense and know exactly where our money was going to and which expenses we should drop because they weren't making us money. When you're an entrepreneur, every dollar you spend should be making a great return and making you profitable money. And if it's not, then you need to pivot and make a change. And if your business model can't be broken down into a simple unit to where you're making money, then you've got to stop and fix that problem. So one big problem that we had was with my previous business, we had payroll, we had salespeople, we had staff, and we were paying without knowing on a per unit basis if we were profitable. And a per unit means one customer, one client comes in, how much money are you taking home as a business owner as profits? And if you don't know that, you are in deep shit and you're going to go under, I promise you. So with my current business, I broke that down into, okay, I know basically on a commission basis, okay, this sales guy is going to earn this percentage, this sales guy is going to earn this percentage, I'm going to pay for this senior underwriter per hour, and I know it's going to cost me this much each week, and I could break down and know pretty accurately what my overall net gross profit margin like per unit. And then with adding in overhead and other marketing and fixed expense costs, what's my net profit on a weekly basis? And as I started to break that down, I started to see, okay, $5,000 in profit this week, $10,000 in profit this week, $15,000 in profit this week, and started to really break that down and ensure profitability. And as I did that, even though I didn't have the top line revenue, I made more money than ever the previous year because I had managed that profitability so well. And so if you're an entrepreneur and you want to succeed, it's not all about that top line revenue. We're making millions of dollars on paper, but guess what? We're losing in the profitability, and we're losing big time as entrepreneurs because we're not profitable. You must be profitable. You must know your numbers, and you must know that, for example, for us, an average funding client, let's say it's worth about $3,000. Well, I know all of my expenses are going to be somewhere around $1,500 to $1,800, and then there's that much left over per unit, and then I'm going to have additional expenses for office rent, marketing, softwares, and all the other things that you have to spend money on as a business owner. And at the end of the day, I'm going to have 20 to 25% profit margins on every dollar that comes in. And by knowing that, by knowing those numbers, now I can profitably grow. And then when you get to a point where this year, where it's time to make those investments to actually be able to grow and expand, well, in the short term, you're not going to be as profitable. You might even break even or show a small loss, but those investments will give you the foundation and the ability to expand. So for us, one of those investments was in software. We needed to invest in our partner software so that our funding partners knew exactly where their deals were and leads were, and had training and had this beautiful software as a service portal that they could access and easily be able to go through training and manage their deals that they're sending in, that our team is funding for them. And that's been a big investment, but it's already paying off, and it's going to pay off hugely over the next year as we're able to grow and expand the business. And we wouldn't have been able to had we not made that investment and known in the short term we would break even or lose some money, but in the long term we'd be in a much better position. And now we're already back profitable week by week by week because we know our numbers. And that's the power of QuickBooks. So if you're not using QuickBooks, if you don't have a good accountant and CPA, you are making a massive mistake and you're not going to be profitable. And if you're not profitable, then you're going to lose in this game. You've got to be profitable. You should be profitable from day one. Even one of my friends who did go the venture capital route, got $1 million in funding, and I've told him, dude, you've got to start making money. You've got to start increasing those sales and those revenues. You can't just bank off of trying to build a valuable software and hope to exit without being profitable. The sooner you increase your revenues and have that cash flow model, the sooner you can get more funding and actually build something valuable. And that's a mistake too many people make, and you cannot do it, especially when you're starting for your first business and you think, oh, I need hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, you don't. Start out with as small amount as possible at risk and make it profitable and grow that profitability month after month. You're going to have to do more of the work at the beginning, and then as soon as you understand what it takes to succeed in each position, then you can build out that team, grow and expand, and make shit happen. But if you don't have the foundation of being profitable on a per unit basis, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, it'll never work, and you'll bleed money, and eventually you have to close your doors and personally perhaps even file bankruptcy. So don't let that happen to you. Learn from my mistakes and build a profitable business model. Know your numbers, use your QuickBooks so that you can, profit big time and win at this game of entrepreneurship. And I promise if you do, you'll go to bed every night sleeping like a baby, like I did last night, knowing exactly where your numbers are at, and then actually being able to forecast future profits and revenue as you know your numbers. The next thing you need to know after understanding your accounting is your key performance indicators. And I'm going to do a podcast about the importance of key performance indicators in just the next few days. So there it is, my friends. Know your numbers on a daily, weekly basis or die. Use QuickBooks and don't make mistakes that I made. Don't build, $5-6 million a year companies that are actually losing you money.
Are you looking for more seven-figure secrets, content, or even how you can launch your own recession-proof business? Then check out sevenfigures.com. That's the digit 7, FIGURES.com, where we share more videos, stories, strategies, funding solutions, entrepreneurial education, and even the secret business type that's recession-proof. Thank you for listening, and if you're finding value in our podcast, please give us a 5-star and invite others to join the club.